Today's episode, we shall explore, is volunteering a good way to spend your time? You're listening to
Jom Sembang, Malaysia. You know why I'm laughing or not?
Why, you got a lot of time?
No, because this year, when people asking me what I do, I say I feel like I'm a full-time volunteer.
So definition of volunteer lah, what make you feel like you're a full-time volunteer?
I feel like I'm doing everything out of the altruism and of the big heart. It's like not necessarily paying the bills.
So actually, maybe because we are looking for volunteers, or maybe not. I just realized that volunteerism this year especially is on a rise.
Oh.
Because last time volunteers, you expect young people. Then volunteers now got senior people going volunteers. I find that
true.
the multi-generation have all come out to do volunteer like it's the next easy thing like that. You ask them like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? I volunteer here. I volunteer there. I'm like, how come? It's like a word. Last time, if someone said that they volunteer, maybe out of 100 people got one person say, then you're like, what are you doing, volunteer? Now you don't even have to ask, because on my social media feed, people say, I volunteer at the food kitchen. I volunteer to jaga booth. I volunteer. It's like, hey, how come the whole world is on a volunteering spirit?
All right.
So which is why I wanted to just talk about volunteerism, both because we are looking for volunteers, one. Second is because I see a lot of volunteers popping up here and there. And of course, we have experience enough to maybe touch a little bit lah.
Yeah.
About volunteerism lah.
Sure.
So there are many reasons why people are willing to help someone else without getting paid. Okay, the pure reason is, for example, they have a lot of time in the world, they got nothing to do, so let's do something.
Okay.
Second thing is they want to learn something. You know how last time, I don't know about you lah, when I was younger, right? We want to learn something. Say, auntie, I will do for you for free lah. Just let me learn from you how to do the cake lah.
Yeah.
So you learn a skill by volunteering your time to just spend time lah, learning that skill and helping during that whole process, right? And then another one is the big word lah, corporates will do lah, or give back to the community, you know. That one quite,
CSR
but
and all that.
my friend who recently told me you rarely volunteer one last time. Every time I say volunteer, say Gina, volunteer is just you lah. When I was in the corporate world, if I say I volunteer, it's like Gina kind of thing lah. Not our kind of thing, no.
All right.
But recently I see that she's been volunteering a lot. And then I said, why the change of heart? Then she said, it's to release stress.
Oh.
Then I'm like, You
What?
see, for example, I said, really stress meh? You help people to organize event is really stress meh? Then she said, you organize an event at the workplace, you have to answer to the boss. You're doing volunteering, organize event, you have full control. Kasih ku lepas geram lah, aku organize kau my way, you know? And I'm like, like that also can, like a totally different purpose of volunteering lah.
Okay. Okay.
But I do find that she says it helps her to feel less depressed or useless. Because at work, right, let's say your superiors are very dominant, like really control you, like you really have no power, you cannot think, you cannot unleash, right? Volunteering was her way of giving herself space to tell herself, I still got the skills. I still can think. I still can do things. You know? So it helps her to feel a little bit more positive lah.
Wow.
So it's her way of getting out of her depression and stress kind
And
of
on
mode.
top of that, there is that feel good thing. I'm sure it releases some good hormones in you because you are helping lah. You're helping without any materialistic gains, so to speak. Although there are also volunteers who do it for their own self.
I mean, I think every volunteer, there must be a purpose of something that you want from the volunteer lah, right?
Sure.
But like you say, when you said certain volunteers, like for example now, a lot of volunteers comes in to do volunteering for the bragging rights. It could be as simple, it could be as, not simple. It could be as crude and straightforward as they come, hi, I'm here to volunteer. Just plug the plant, okay? Okay, then they take camera. Here, I'm plugging the plant. Here, I plug already. Here, throw. And then after that, they're done in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah,
then they say,
know.
Shina, I finished volunteering. Bye-bye.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's a 3 hours volunteer. No, I'm tired already. Bye-bye.
Like literally hand you back the shovel and like, thanks. Yeah.
It's like a bragging opportunity. And for me, I have no problem with that if you brag and actually do.
Yes.
But if you brag and then you bye-bye, and I'm
like,
why is this? Like, how come like that also cannot?
I mean, it's nice. It's nice when somebody comes and does something at a place. And then, of course, they feel good about it, right? And then you tell your friends, wow, this morning, I did this, and whatever I was helping this. And it also kind of like spreads the word, right? Maybe other people want to come and join. But when you come and don't know anything, and then just someone can take photo.
Yeah.
I mean, some people will support. I've had friends, right? Like in the voluntary society or whatever, they turn up, but they turn up to give moral support because maybe they cannot do, they're not so able-bodied as you. But they come and support lah, just show face kind of thing. But they don't have to take the face like actually they're doing the thing and then after that tak buat pun.
Correct. So I think we've come across quite a few of those lah. And then volunteers, I think the other thing I really see volunteers is like they expect to not spend money. They volunteer, right? The kind of volunteer say, hey, can I claim my travel costs?
Okay.
And then can you feed me? And then, which I have no problem with.
Yeah.
So I realized that when we are volunteering for something, we must be very clear on what the volunteering organizing team is arranging for.
Yeah.
For example, like, okay, we need this help, but we are willing to feed you because we have no money to pay, okay?
Yeah.
But some people who really need the volunteer actually have no money to even feed lunch.
Yes.
Then as a volunteer, you should just don't complain about it lah. People really have no money to have manpower. Someone complain about why you never feed me lunch.
I think you need to know what you're going into and why lah. And also there's a change of school of thought. In the past, and again this is not based on statistics lah, but based on the people I've seen, people who volunteer generally in the past have had quite a decent resource in terms of bank account lah.
Yeah.
Okay? So they can afford to travel to do something, pay for a hotel, pay for the entire package and then volunteer at that thing. And then you have the other side of things where actually people are already super busy, but they still feel like they want to contribute their skills, not charge you for it, but at least not out of pocket lah.
Correct.
So, and I think people need to know where they stand.
Correct.
And also maybe be vocal about it, be upfront about it. Like, I'm cool to do this, but I cannot out of pocket. And the people who want to receive that volunteerism also need to be open about it lah. You can't be like, oh yeah, come pay yourself. Actually, there's one, that I've been wanting to do. I've got a thing.
You've been wanting to volunteer or you've been wanting to organize a volunteer?
I've been wanting to volunteer.
Okay.
And this is because I really want to help our Malayan tigers.
Okay.
So there's this one I've been eyeing lah. Wow, there's a catwalk. Literally, it's called where you can go and you can be part of the ronda, the mata-mata. Yeah, they call it the catwalk.
I start to imagine Juwita on the runway and then she suddenly knows it's ronda in the hutan.
But then for me, right, I'm thinking, for me to travel there is already one thing, and then to have to pay for it and everything, that might become more like, I don't know, it's like a paid for activity, like I'm paying for an activity rather than volunteer. Yeah, so don't know, that's just me lah. So that has kept me from actually going. Yeah.
Interesting. After the break, we come back. I want to share about how this organization actually runs what I think successful volunteering programs.
Cool. Today's episode is in support of the YWCA KL's brand new initiative called the YWCA Community Oasis. If you would like to be involved in greening up a space right in the middle of downtown KL, reach out to us on social media, YWCA KL.
Just said, I would like to green the place too.
Yes.
Alright, during all this looking for volunteers, we come across so many batch of volunteers.
Yes.
And I know that some batch works better than another, but it all lies down to not the people, mainly the people, but how it was organized.
Okay,
so for example, there was a corporate who wanted to do volunteering.
Yeah.
Not just at our place, there was maybe like 5 to 10 places.
The whole company went out. Yeah.
Correct. So what really nice is there's a coordinator that lists down all the events and then lists down what is supposed to do at the event and where the event is.
Yeah.
So the volunteers get to choose lah.
Yeah.
Okay, I want outdoor. I can I can do exercise and energy, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
under the sun, then they will
Yeah.
pick this one.
Yeah.
Or then you have people who like, I cannot understand, must be aircon
Yeah.
one. Okay lah, teach kids lah. Okay, I don't
Yeah.
hate kids lah. Okay, they can teach.
Yeah.
So when you are organizing a program, it's very important to list down what it's about.
Mm.
A lot of organizations say, we just need help, send help. So they don't have very specific, for example, job scope of the volunteering, right?
Yeah.
And then because they don't have a job scope, when the volunteer come, the expectations are not aligned. And then you have a problem of either scaring the volunteer forever and ever, scarring both part of the parties lah.
true.
Okay. So what I find is the first thing when you want to do is the person who's looking for volunteers must list down all your job scope for your volunteer. If you say, I have no time, then sorry lah, you are not putting the effort to get the correct help that you need.
Yeah.
Okay. Second thing, the person who is looking for places to volunteer also have to read lah. Otherwise you'll have a bad experience leh. You go there like, this is not what I signed up for. So read that job scope lah.
Yeah.
That says, for example, I just need you to take photos. And they say, this one I cannot volunteer. I don't know how to take photos.
Yeah.
Or this one I can. I have a smartphone. So those two are the key points of the whole aligning the expectation between the volunteers and the people looking for volunteers lah. Okay. The second thing is if you have a group of friends who are interested in the same things, then you can just take the same group of people to do the thing at where the organization is lah. So like for example, I know a group of people who really likes to draw. So when I volunteered to do journal art class, I'm like, die lah, I one person.
Right.
Just because I do a little bit of journaling, they asked me to do, right? So what I did was I caught friends that I know, number one, might have time to give. Number two, they can draw.
Not Juwita.
I cannot bring a friend who don't draw, then it does not contribute to the entire cost, right? So
Yes.
I look for my volunteer very specific. But volunteerism also comes with, for example, some people don't like to do things alone one. They cannot go volunteer alone because I just cannot lah.
Yeah.
Gina can because I do something wrong. It's okay, nobody know me, But I have friends who cannot go alone, so they always go in groups. So you must also understand how you function as a volunteer. That makes you function well lah. It helps both organizers. So you can list down, right? I need one help. Hello. Maybe you need to put there, I need 3 helpers or something like that. The job scope, or rather the criteria is what we're looking at lah. Yeah. So along the way, then you find some volunteers, for example, I want to say the volunteer syndromes.
Okay.
Just
Okay,
came
I
out
wanna
with
hear this.
just came out with it, okay? So you have volunteers who like they do things they don't do properly. They do what they fancy. And then when you say them or you tell them off, then they say, I
not paying for
volunteer
this
only
one."
ma. Yeah. Very common, right? So like I call it the volunteer syndrome lah, because we work with so many volunteers the last few months that I start to look at our syndrome like one who's like, I'm not here, I'm forced to be here. So their attitude or their delivery is like 50-50. Especially those that need you to sign card to say that they have volunteered 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever is it.
Yeah, universities do that now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have that whole attitude lah, Or you have some very good one is like they learn how to do what you want them to do, even though they have not done it before.
Yeah.
So those are some good, better traits of being a volunteer lah.
A couple where the volunteer didn't turn up.
Yeah, that one also I cannot understand.
Like in the morning, they'll just tell you. But then it could be not a volunteer thing. It could be a generation thing. I don't know. It's just...
It could be a volunteer thing because we also have this thing where I want to do good. And then on the morning that I'm supposed to go do good, it rains. So I'm like, okay, so forget about it, I'm not going.
Yeah, but the
Volunteer syndrome.
the same person might have had a coffee date with you and might have done the same thing.
Yeah,
Because
so it's
of the
personality,
personal makeup.
correct. Yeah. So for me, some of the voluntary syndrome is like the whole, you didn't pay me to do this. I
Yeah.
can come late because you didn't pay me to do this. I don't turn up at all because I change your mind, cannot meh? After all, it's my volunteering. But
Then my question is, then why volunteer in the first place? Is it like, because you asked me, so I feel obliged and therefore I come? Because it's not dengan ikhlas what, how to say?
I think why volunteer in the first place is a good question to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
Considering that I'm a veteran volunteer.
Yeah, I full-time.
Because like before I even started work, my mom already said, hey, you do so many volunteer work, they're going to feed you. For me, it's really number one, I see a need that I can meet.
Okay.
So I contribute or promise to meet it lah. That's my way of volunteering lah. So I think once I do that, no matter what happen, it doesn't shake that. Like I already promised to
Committed.
meet that need mah. Committed to it what, right? So even if it rain and I still need to run the event mah, cannot say I agree to run this event for you. And then on the morning it rains, you all run yourself. Okay, I stay at home and sleep.
Yeah, because people are already counting on
Correct.
you, right? If you didn't say you would, they could have called somebody else.
Correct. So
Right.
the commitment level is, for me, is knowing that it's something that I can do. Decides whether I volunteer or not. If it's something that I'm not sure, then my decision falls to the second level of like, okay, I might think 5 times more for this. So my first thing is, number one, I can meet the need. I have the skills. Second is whether the deadline or the time frame or the timeline works. If it works for me, go. I'm all done, you know. If it doesn't work for me, then sorry lah, 50-50 lah. That kind of stuff lah. So for me, it's really meeting a gap, a need with my skills. That's how I decide my volunteering stuff.
There's this thing that comes to mind that I did. I kind of did it because of the work that I was employed at that time, but this was like extra duty on top of that. So I'm not really sure if it's called volunteerism or not. Maybe you can listen and tell me. So back when I was working with the YWCA, right, you would have to go for World Council meetings lah. That's part of the job. And then for some reason, the higher ups at the world level invited me on this task force.
Okay.
Which is not a paid thing, you know. And unlike you, like you said that you were you say, okay, I've got the skill set to go and do this, then you would do it, right? For me, right, I'm like, I don't have the skill set to do this. It was too big a task, but I also know that it's a safe space for growth. So the fact that they asked me to go was probably like, they probably saw some potential that I could learn lah, even if I couldn't like give very much to that particular thing. But I saw that, okay, maybe I'm going to learn from this. And so I went with the mindset that I will learn. It ended up to be a 4-year thing. But there were a lot of perks lah. The perks is that all the meetings are overseas ma. So I end up traveling to Geneva once a year, at least for the meetings and all that, and other places. So a lot of traveling. And to be honest, right, while I was doing that, right, sometimes I did wonder, why am I sitting in this place? Like I see all the people around me, like so much more qualified to do the job. Got the lawyers. For me, right, I almost felt like I'm the secretary in the team, like just putting all the ideas together, which probably was my role lah.
Okay.
Free of charge. But they paid lah for my travel, my accommodation, the food during the thing and everything. So it was more of a time lah.
I would consider this volunteer to learn.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And then my boss happily like, yeah. Because it's like kind of like job training, right? So just go lah. So I didn't even have to take leave to do it lah, you know. So I suppose it is partial lah.
Yeah.
Half employment opportunity lah kind of thing. Development opportunity.
So the whole reason I'm talking about volunteerism is I think I want us to not be too quick to volunteer. To really think about it lah. Because sometimes, right, it's really not as simple as I just need your time, just be there, you know. Yeah. There's a lot of things involved. So it's good to actually pause and think, okay, can I really be helpful?
Yeah.
And I may just there tell you, okay, I can do that, but there could be some other better candidate for it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the first. But if you're looking for a volunteer, to really take the time to sit down and write down your job scope, because it will bring in the correct volunteer for the purpose that you have lah.
Yeah. So I just want to give an example, right? So there was one, I remember we had a volunteer listing for photographer. And at the back of my mind, I was a little bit concerned, as in, what if a lot of people think they can take very good photos, right? And they take, you can see, actually you stand there and you take the photo, you see when they're taking the photo on their handphone, you already know.
Correct. The
cannot use. You already know cannot use already.
Screen finder.
But in their mind, they think that they are good and they like taking photos, right? But the skill isn't really there. So one is that match of skill. How do you know, right, that your level of skill
expectations
is enough to meet what that event needs or that organizer needs, number one. And then number two also, I think, how much time can you put in before, after? What's needed before and after? So, for example, if you're just coming to help organize arrange the tables and chairs. Then you come half an hour before, and then half an hour after, you're done.
Correct.
There's no other expectation of you,
Correct.
right? But if you're the photographer, there is the requirement to have all the photos uploaded or sent to the organizer within by the end of the day, if you can, right?
Correct.
And I've noticed like my photographer friends are, wow, very happening one, the proper ones are, very happening. By the end of the day, pop photos are up there. Because if I wait 2 days for you, it's obsolete already.
Correct. And there's also the third kind where teaching English.
Okay.
You need to do homework before you volunteer, ma. You need to prepare your learning lessons and stuff like that. So that's why I said there's different categories of volunteerism.
Yes.
And the job scope that's required lah.
Yeah. So consider properly before you sign up.
You're mad.
Jom Sembang Malaysia is hosted by 2 Malaysians who are passionate about Malaysian stuff.
Stay tuned every week for a brand new Sembang session with Cerita Suito and Gina Yap Layung.
Today's episode is recorded at Studio 2105.
Remember to click like and subscribe for the brand new episode next week.